So apologies for the heart attack if I just gave you one. But happy Tuesday, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining us from in the world. My name is Meg Alexander. I am super excited to be with you and hosting today's event. Now, before we dive in, I just want to go over a couple of quick housekeeping items. Hopefully this will make sure that everybody has a great experience on today's event. So one thing to know, whether you are if you're new to Power to Fly or if you are a frequent flyer and we see you all the time, all of these events are about you. It's about our community members. We want to encourage participation and interactivity as much as we can. So to that end, you can participate in a few different ways. If you'd like, you are welcome to turn your cameras on, share your smiling, maskless faces with us safely. There's no pressure though, no need to be Instagram perfect. I think I'm on day 4 of dry shampoo messy bun as like my go-to look. So if you are coming to us from a non-traditional workspace, if you have furry coworkers, if you are also being supervised by small children, please feel free, meet us where you are. No need to be perfect. We just want you to join us and learn with us. Now, if you do have any kind of privacy concerns, that is totally fine. Just know that as long as you don't come off mute, you will not show up on the live recording or the live stream of today's session. Now, if you do have any kind of privacy concerns, like I said, just make sure you're on mute. And you can always participate by writing questions in the chat. So you can send any questions you have, any comments for the speaker. Are you agreeing with what we're saying? Do you have a different lived experience? Please feel free to keep that chat moving there. If you are super Black Ops, deep cover, don't want anyone to know you're here, but you still want to participate, totally great. All you got to do is send any questions or comments you have to me. So you can DM me those questions or comments. You're going to find my name in the dropdown on the Zoom chat. And that will be how you can get those questions to me and keep yourself anonymous. Now, before we go, I just want to highlight again, today's session is being recorded. What that means is for you don't have to take notes. You don't have to worry if you miss a resource that somebody lists, or if you want to go back and remember what that great piece of advice was that Katrina gave early in the session. So all of this to say, it's awesome. And you get to really kick back and make the most and be present for today's session. But the other thing to know is that you can also share this session or share this chat with anyone you like. So in about 1 to 2 days, everybody's going to get a link get an email from us with a link to where you can rewatch this recording when it's posted on our website. Now, if Katrina says something just mind-blowing, you cannot wait to share it with a coworker or a friend or a relative, you don't have to wait the 1 to 2 business days. You can always head over to our YouTube channel. I'll share the link with you here in just a little bit, but you can check out our YouTube channel there. Live streams are usually posted within about 5 to 15 minutes at the end of the session. And you can also keep up with us on all of our social media accounts. So we are at Power to Fly on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you would like to, you're more than welcome to take photos or video as we go today, so that you can share with your social network. Let people know that you are learning with Power to Fly. We'd be happy to reshare or retweet anything you post. Please feel free to tag us. But we want to make sure that these resources are available to as many people as possible. We want everybody to benefit, and have this help along for their career journey. So please feel free to share there. All right, now I'm really excited to introduce you to today's speaker. Now, Katrina Hayes is gracing our stage today. And some things you should know is, Katrina has over 10 years of experience in mentoring women to see the light in themselves, with numerous speaking engagements, as well as podcast interviews about the power of self-love under her belt. Katrina has influenced the lives of many women for the better. Now, as a mother of a child on the spectrum, Katrina has learned to see more than what just meets the eye. And because of this, she inspires women to see what it is within themselves, a beacon of purpose and passion that will lead others to also do great things. So Katrina, we are so happy to have you with us today. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience before we get to the meat and potatoes of today's event?
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you for the intro. As stated, I am a coach, speaker. I'm also a published author. And I essentially support individuals in getting past self-imposed and external limitations so they can live a life full of liberation, fun, and fulfillment. And who doesn't want that?
100%. Yes. I think that's something all of us could use more of in our lives, right?
Yes. So, so today's chat is going to be about fulfillment. And I'll go over what that looks like, what that may look like for you. I'll go over 5 ways to get to deeper fulfillment. And I'll touch bases on one of the ways to ultimate fulfillment, and that is giving back. Right now, I would like to do an icebreaker. It's so much going on in the world.
Before we do that, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Katrina. Before you do that, I just want to highlight for everybody some of the main takeaways you can expect to get from today's bet. So all these things that you see on your screen are 3 different things that we identified, both based on conversations with Katrina, as well as by looking at the questions that you all sent in when you registered today. So we're going to try and touch on these 3 things, but just understand that if you are here and you took time out of your day to be with us live, we want to make sure that the time that you spend with Power to Fly is well worth it. So if you have questions, understand that you have the ability to drive today's conversation. If you want to dig in deeper on something, let us know. If you submitted a question and you're not sure if we're going to get to it or not, ask the question again in the chat. We want to make sure that you get out of today what you came for, but we can't do that unless you tell us what you want to know. So we're going to discuss some ways about or discuss some options for what fulfillment could look like to you. We're going to discuss 5 different ways in which you can achieve that fulfillment. And we're also going to discuss some ways you can give back. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Katrina for the start of today's session. And I will be ready to jump back in when you are done. So take it away.
Okay, awesome. Before we do that, I would like to do the icebreaker. And so if you would take a second and put in the chat 3 things that you are grateful for today. Gratitude is key to fulfillment. So let's see what we have in the chat. For some reason, my chat isn't coming up.
So I'm taking a look here in the chat. There's some really great ones coming up. I put in my health, supportive family and partner, as well as my dogs. A lot of people are saying health, their career. Maria says salvation, family and health. Health and family is huge here. Monica says cool weather, my cat, my chosen family. Sonia, making my own choices, health, and my daughter. They're wonderful answers here.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you all for sharing. And so I was thinking, let's not go with a regular textbook definition for fulfillment. So just play along with me. We have guy number 1, and we're going to call guy number 1 Raheem. Raheem is at the beach. Raheem loves the beach. It starts raining. Raheem hates the rain. Raheem packs his stuff up with an attitude, goes back upstairs to the room in his resort, complaining in a really crappy mood. And Raheem is not happy again until it either stops raining or he goes downstairs to the store and gets a 6-pack. Guy number 2, we're going to call him Nick. Nick is at the beach. Nick loves the beach. It starts raining, but Nick is okay with that. Nick can decide if he wants to stay on the beach while it's raining. Nick can decide to go upstairs to his room. And when he does go upstairs to his room, Nick can decide to go on the balcony and feel the rain on his hand. He can listen to the waves from the balcony. Nick can go inside his room and read a book, or just be alone in solitude. Or if Nick has company, he can enjoy their company by talking and chatting, or they can sit together in peace. So that is who has fulfillment? Is that guy 1 or guy 2?
I say guy 2, but that's just me.
Who do you want to work with?
Yeah, it's coming in loud and clear on the chat here. Guy 2, okay. Nick.
Excellent.
Guy 2.
I see it now. I see all 2s. So that is what fulfillment looks like in real-time life. It is about people think if I'm happy, I'm fulfilled. But no, happiness is contingent upon outside factors and can be very short-lived. Fulfillment is something deeper, something meaningful, something I say a gift. A part of self-love is fulfillment. It's being content. And so that is pretty much content. That's the real life definition for fulfillment. 5 ways to get to fulfillment. 1 is practicing gratitude. 2, operate from your core values. Number 3, be present. Number 4, spend time in nature. And number 5, recite your affirmations. And so, number 1, practice gratitude. It's impossible to be thankful and angry at the same time. I know gas prices are through the roof. You might have a lot of traffic to go through to get to work, your other responsibilities. But if you can take the time to be thankful for something, it'll change the trajectory of your day. So let's, and that's what we did earlier, just practicing that, just being thankful for what we have and shifting that energy from a deficit to what do I have to be happy about? What brings me joy? What lights me up? What am I passionate about? I know this platform typically deals with employment. So I'll give you some employment examples. Let's say you're on a job that you don't like. How can we shift it to gratitude? Is there a tuition reimbursement that you can take advantage of? Is there a fitness program that you can take advantage of? Are you able to move into a different position? So you can always be in a state of gratitude about something. Number 2, be present. And with cell phones and competing interests and kids calling your name, the job telling you so many things changes with technology and things on the job. You have all this going on and all this swirling around your head. It's so important to be present with yourself so you don't have all this chatter. When you have all this chatter, you're distracted. We don't make good decisions from that mindset. So being present, it's inviting silence, or it's having your attention on one thing. For example, I went to the library today and I was in a rush. And then once I got over to the threshold, I slowed down and looked to my right. And there was this beautiful art display. that took me out of my day. I was a bit anxious before I went into the library because I was on a very strict time schedule. But just those few seconds of deep, intense focus on something that captured my attention was enough to decompress and have me proceed in in a way that I was more calm. I got what I needed to get done in the library without a lot of fuss. And that's what being present is about. So I encourage you, if you're in the grocery store and you like flowers, just take a look at the flowers. If your favorite color is purple, look for things that's purple in your environment. Those are some really simple ways to bring about deeper fulfillment into your day. Number 3, core values. Our core values dictate our behavior. Core values help you understand what's a good fit for you and what's not a good fit for you. Some examples of core values are like charity, fun, communication, integrity, peaceful, responsibility. And so when you operate with those guiding principles in mind, things become a lot more simpler, and you can operate in alignment with your goals, with your mission, and things will get a lot more clearer, and you'll feel a deeper sense of fulfillment. As a matter of fact, I would love to hear 3 of your core values. So can you drop 3 core values in the chat? Can we get a volunteer to come on the screen and share their 3 core values?
Oh yeah. If anybody wants to come on and talk about their values, please feel free.
Monica, integrity, love. I love that.
Yeah, I like that. I put kindness, honesty, and respect.
Love, respect, integrity. Integrity, love, empathy. Thank you.
We got another one. Communicating boundaries, compassion, and not passing judgment. Communicating boundaries. That's a, I feel that one in my soul today. So
yeah. Authenticity, respect, principle. Okay. So we have a volunteer.
I'm not seeing anybody that wants to come off. Ari, did you want to come off mute? Hold on.
Unmute. Okay. I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, everything I just said, communicating boundaries has been a big one. It's been very, it's been talking to me lately. I'm like, oh, I want to do this, but I can't already have a prior engagement, right? So it's just like a lot of that compassion also, letting people know. And also, what was the last one I just said? I forgot what the last one was I just said. I forgot. I just wrote it down.
Not passing judgment.
Oh yeah, the passing judgments, right? Because I'm very hyper aware of judgments. Like I've been judged my whole life. And so like, I really try not to judge anybody because we're all walking on this thing we call reality. And we're just here to be better than we were yesterday. So yeah, I just want to put that out there.
I love that, Ari. Thank you.
Ari. Ari, I would like to say, this is life, real life. We make mistakes. We're on a learning path. And I would say, instead of seeing it as a mistake or something to shun yourself, you can easily say, I forgive myself for judging you for such and such. And so when you come from a place of forgiveness, A lot of people think forgiveness is for the other person, but that this we can go down a whole nother topic with forgiveness. But the way I coach people to learn how to forgive themselves, because your relationship with yourself is the most important thing. And self-love and self-forgiveness is key to fulfillment. It governs how you operate in the world. So just wanted to share that. You're welcome. So we'll go to number 4. Number 4 is the fourth way to deeper fulfillment is spend some time in nature. Nature restores. It decreases stress levels, decreases anxiety. It's a whole mind, body, spirit experience in nature. So I encourage people to get in nature, get in one. I don't know anyone that can stroll through a botanical garden and be anxious or mad or or complain, unless you have
quite the feat. Yeah,
I don't know, a snake running after you.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever gone to a park and seen someone walking around all angry. You know, it's usually a lot of people that are like, oh, yeah.
Yes. So I encourage that. And number 5, affirmations. It's simply who you are, what you want to be. Speak to your uniqueness. I am loved. I am brave. I am unique. I have courage. I'm willing to forgive myself. I'm good at what I do. I'm willing to learn. And so those are my 5 ways to deeper fulfillment. Practice gratitude. Be present. Operate from your core values. Spend time in nature and recite your affirmations. It sounds very simple, but the thing is, when we're going through this thing called life and life happens, we tend to forget the simple things. And those, once we get back to the simplicity of life and what really matters, everything else will fall by the wayside.
I think you're right. I mean, it is one of those things that's a little bit easier said than done, but absolutely super useful. And I don't know about anybody else. Mental health is a huge focus in my life. And so much of what you're saying very much echoes stuff that my therapist has told me, or things that, I know are good for my mental health or good for, my well-being. So yeah, I'm loving this list. Okay, let's go through some questions that people had. And so see if we can kind of, explore more, the five steps that you gave us. A lot of people had asked about like why they don't feel fulfilled. And what you had touched on earlier was this idea that like if there's too much going on, that could be a reason that you don't feel fulfilled in your life. Do you think that there are other like common reasons that kind of cloud things for people, or that might point to why they're feeling unfulfilled?
Yes, that's a good question. I have another question. Who are your primary influencers throughout your day? Are you doing what lights you up? What makes you smile? Are you around someone that is toxic or toxic environment? How can you do less of that? How can you add more people with positive energy into your space? It's all about what boundaries, who we decide and allow into our space. And sometimes we don't have any control over that. In a work situation, we don't have any control over anyone else's behavior. but you have other options. You have the option to seek other employment. You have the option to voice your opinion about what's going on in a mature fashion. There are so many things that we can do to counter not feeling fulfilled. But the huge thing is doing more of what lights you up. Doing more, doing more of what you love.
It's a really good call out, honestly, because like this is not something that I really understood until I had a job that suited my skills, or I had a job that I really believed in. And it was very, very difficult for me to hear people say like, well, fine, do what you like to do. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, data entry is not it, but girls got to eat, right? And so I think you're right. It does change a lot of things when you realize that, like, yeah, you might not be doing what lights you up at work, but what are you doing in the rest of your life? Are you doing the things that help you, that benefit you, that recharge you? Because for me, I always looked at like fun activities and the things that you do to blow off steam, whatever, as like a bonus, right? Like a reward if you did all of this other good stuff, but like not necessarily something that you have to maintain a balanced life. Obviously, that's not really the way you want to think about it. You want to think about it in terms of what's going to recharge you. And so my balance and my like kind of work-life balance completely changed once I really understood that I need to seek out things that recharge me so that I have the energy to spend on those areas that I have to spend it on. And yes, reframing it like that helped me to not feel like it was a luxury and see it more as like a must-have for my mental health.
Awesome. You get it.
Took me 35 years, but I get it now. Oh, all right. We got great comments coming in the chat. A lot of people saying they could also use more light in their lives. We had a lot of people that wanted to know about, how to be high achieving or meet your goals, but also to enjoy that present moment and that success. Do you have any tips for people that are trying to find that balance of being driven as well as enjoying the success that you've already achieved?
Yes. First, I would like to say congratulations for any success, any accomplishment, any goal that you have achieved. Number one, celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself. So many people don't know how to celebrate that moment, what's going on presently. When you are truly present, you don't need anything else but what's in front of you at that particular moment of time. And after that, you can set another goal. But the point is to have enough inner peace. And it's the word again, the fulfillment, the satisfaction of I accomplished this goal, celebrate this win. And if you have any anxiety attached to that, know that you are not being present. And so just come back to celebrating that moment. Doesn't mean you don't have other opportunities that you want to pursue or you want to reach further, and that's totally okay. But what people are forgetting right now is to enjoy life in front of you. We are chasing after the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And you know what happens once we get to the next thing? It's either something that we don't want. We thought it was going to be something totally different.
No,
or we're on the hamster wheel to the next big thing. So I would just say, just bask in your present. Come back to the center, come back to you, and be present. Meditation helps tremendously with being present. Many people think when you're meditating, you're just like, that doesn't have to be meditation.
You're not kidding. I'm horrible at meditation. But like you're right. It's unreal how many people think that like you have to have a mantra or you have to sit there and make really weird noises to yourself to like clear your mind or whatever. What ways do you find to meditate?
Meditation can simply be 3 minutes of complete silence. See, I like solitude, so it's pretty natural to me. But if you can just start off with 3 minutes of complete silence, not thinking about anything, just breathing in and breathing out, that is enough to get to stop the chatter and give you some inner peace. So people won't be so anxious. There is an amazing product called Now by So You. They're these handheld speakers, and you press it for 3 minutes, and you're supposed to focus on just the music that comes through it. And they're amazing. And I don't get paid for plugging them, but if you can look it up, buy their speakers. That's a very easy way to get into meditation. You just press the button on the speaker, and it's just like so melodic, peaceful sound, and you can even feel the speakers vibrating a little bit on your skin. They're absolutely phenomenal for starters.
Very cool. I find a lot of success with especially if I'm trying to sit in silence. I find I do a lot better, or I last a lot longer. I'm less likely to keep checking the time before the 3 minute goes off. I have like fidget stuff. So I've got like Play-Doh on my desk. I've got a couple different little like fidget toys. And if I kind of limit that to myself. So like I can keep my hands moving, but like I have to like not talk, be silent, close my eyes, like and that at least helped me a little bit, especially when like I was just, there's too much going on and you can't really stop. It feels like everything's still spinning. So I love that. I like that app suggestion too. That's wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So there are other ways of, it's not the typical what you see on movies. There are other ways to get to being present. Even focusing on something, you can meditate with a whole lot of. Once you get to that point to where it becomes second nature, you can actually meditate with a whole lot of noise around you. I've had to do that a few times. And meditation may be sitting you may not be able to do anything but sit in your car for a couple of minutes. I would say do that. Do something where you can sit in peace and be present and just decompress.
I like that. And I like how you kind of pair this, that meditation in tandem with that idea of trying to like enjoy your success. Because you're right, there's so much stuff that, people set these goals and they want to meet them. And it's really, really easy to get kind of caught up in that momentum, right? Because you don't want to lose the success that you're having. You don't want to lose the ground that you're gaining. And so it feeds into this idea that you can't stop to celebrate because then you'll never get back and keep moving towards the next goal. But obviously that's not really accurate, right? You gotta celebrate those wins because the next thing on your list is something that even though there's always a next thing, that next thing is something that you really, really wanted, right? So why are you not enjoying it when you finally achieve it?
I've taken some workshops under Eckhart Tolle, and he says living in the past will put you into depression. When you're living present, you're content. if you're living in the future, that is a recipe for anxiety. Those are not his exact words, but
no, but it resonates.
You get the gist.
Yes. Oh my God. I feel like you're reading from my therapist notes. But yeah, like truly that idea of trying to live in that present moment, it is a lot easier said than done. You know, everybody's got stuff that they're thinking about, planning to move forward and all that kind of stuff. So when you're kind of trying to sit back and take a look at, you know, like your career and what you've got going on, if you're thinking about it in terms of self-worth and self-esteem, a lot of people pin that on something like their job, right? Because it's easy to say like, oh yeah, I'm the VP of blah, 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 or I just got promoted last month or whatever. How much of an impact do you think that the person's career or your work life really has on that self-esteem? Do you think that it's high, it's low? Where should it be? What are your opinions on this?
If you don't have self-esteem, your work life is not gonna, it's gonna affect your work life. If you have self-esteem and you don't like your job, there's some cushion to that. So the self-esteem has to come first. There are people with, gosh, I've met a lot of people, and I can tell you, you can have titles and you can have money and be unhappy with low self-esteem. So the self-esteem, it has to come from within, how you feel. Once you do the inner work, everything else on the outside is not, I'm not going to say it's a piece of cake, but it's you can deal with things a lot more effectively, more in line with your values, and operate in a way where you're feeling more fulfilled. So to answer your question, if let's say you don't like your job, let's say you're in a toxic environment, one of the ways to get to fulfillment is to absolutely accept it. Accept that I am in this situation, because once you accept it, then you know what to do. It's when we go back and forth with the head chatter, with the complaining, with the, you have choices. You can go get another job. You can, let's say you work at a desk, you can bring a set of headphones and listen to music. Listen to your favorite playlist while you're working. You can do things like contact a supervisor and let them know what's going on. You can file a complaint. There are so many things. We have options once you get to acceptance. So acceptance is going to be key. Your self-esteem is going to be key, because whether you like your job or not, or whether you are in an environment or a job that's temporary, both your self-esteem and acceptance is going to have an impact on how you operate moving forward.
Yeah. Okay. So for people who's kind of like, if your self-worth or your self-esteem is based a lot on external factors, right? Like we said, you know, a lot of people kind of hang their hat on specific titles, or some people just want to work for, you know, a big name company, that kind of thing. If you're kind of taking stock and you're realizing that a lot of your self-worth is based on these external sources, are there any tips that you have for people to try and find things about themselves more intrinsic that they can take confidence in or have confidence in?
Yeah. What are you good at? What are you good at? What do you like? Goodness.
I always like, I feel like you used to be asked a lot, like if you, to find your perfect job, people would be like, okay, so like, what would you do if you won the lottery tomorrow? What would you do if the money didn't matter? What would you do for work? And that always really confused me, right? Because like, you kind of, at least for me, it's like, well, I want to pet puppies, but that's not a job. Like, come on. But if you think about it in terms of like, let's say tomorrow you have a day off work unexpected, right? What are you going to do with that day? If you had a day completely free and it's just for you, what would you want to do with that day? And in whatever you spend your free time in, and whatever is like the thing that you can't wait to do when you get done from work, that's usually leads to some like an area, or at least something that you can explore and find something that you like, something that you are confident about because, you know, I really enjoy this because I'm really great at it. Or I really enjoy this because it makes me feel good. And so I like to help people, or, you know, whatever your reason is. What's for you? Like, what's one way that you build your self-esteem?
Goodness, working out, personal development is key for me. I subscribe to John Maxwell's Minute with Maxwell. I've been a subscriber for, I would say, over 5 years. And so every day I get these 1-minute videos, and I call him my mentor sometimes. No, I'm not delusional. But he every day there's this 1-minute video. Who doesn't have 1 minute? And he gives you these motivational videos about core values, about things like gratitude. Today's Minute with Maxwell was about generosity, which we will talk about is another way to bring about deeper fulfillment. But things like that help help bolster my self-esteem. Affirmations, self-care is huge for me. Self-care cushions the blow of a lot of things in life. And just knowing that I'm valuable as a person, regardless of what I do, regardless of my title, just the fact of me being here on earth, and knowing that I am valuable, I'm a person that matters, helps with my self-esteem.
I like that. I can totally see the working out thing too. I mean, it's something that's, you know, better for my mental health for sure. But it also definitely, like, you know, we're getting comments in the chat that I totally agree. Ari says, self-care is how we fill up ourselves so that we can help others. And I think that's a really great way to phrase it. You know, you're not self-care. I feel like can get mislabeled a lot as, you know, like, oh, you're having a bubble bath. You know what I mean? Like people associate it with kind of like luxury things that are nice, but not like necessary. But yeah, when you think of it less as self-care and more like maintenance, it becomes something, at least for me, that was a lot easier to work into my daily life, and a lot easier for me to think like, well, I didn't really do anything today. So like, do I really need to go like take a bubble bath? It's like, no. Self-care is not conditional on you accomplishing something. Self-care is what you need to stay charged.
Yes, it can be watching an inspirational video. It could be curling up on the couch reading a book. It could be working on writing a book. It's whatever speaks to your soul, what recharges you, what's for you only. And sometimes working on work is self-care, because people find joy and fulfillment from their work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Part of the reason I love my job is not only because it's fun for me and I get to talk to amazing people like Katrina, but because, you know, it's how I feel like I'm making a difference, right? I can't save the world, but I can try and connect people with, you know, new resources, or with a new company that they might be a great fit for. And so like, that's something that fills me up. But also like, it's important for, you know, at least in my example, to remember that it's not like not all of my self-worth is tied into that. You know, it is something that I do that helps me, but it's also not, you know, anything in extremes is generally bad for us, right?
Thank you, Valerie, for sharing.
Yes. Valerie's got a good one here. Self-help, therapy, and positive self-affirmations. Valerie also says nature walks and working on weaknesses and recognizing strengths. I think that's a really important one. So when it comes to something like, you know, trying to reset your focus to get that fulfillment out of life, do you think there are core areas that people should focus on when they are trying to reach that state of fulfillment? I'm curious because I wonder if it looks like, I'm sure it looks different for each person, but if there's like, you know, a core set of like, yeah, these are some things that will help you. If you focus on this, then it'll help you sort of work your way towards fulfillment or towards, you know, knowledge of how you could be more fulfilled in what you're doing.
Thank you for the clarity.
You're welcome.
I would say what resonates with you? What motivates you? Some people said their family motivates them. So what job they may take will depend on if they have to work on weekends or not. So that they're taking their core value of their family dynamics into consideration when exploring employment opportunities. It's your what are your priorities? And you operate with that. Once you have those priorities in line, once you have those core values in place, decision making becomes pretty easy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, if you can kind of think big picture and pull back to see, like, you know, what do I really enjoy doing? What is something that I'm passionate about, or that really matters to me? You know, what can you do to either make that more of a focus in your life, or what can you do to increase the amount of time that you spend on that? You know, even if you can't leave your current job and it is soul sucking, you know, maybe you can do something different with your off hours in a way that is going to help recharge you, not only for like daily life, but also, you know, for that job that you have to be at, you know, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. Super important. Yeah.
Yes.
So one of the ways that you talked about reaching fulfillment is about giving back, right? Can you share some examples of how you give back in your community, or ways that you feel that really help you to find fulfillment?
Excellent. Yes, giving back is really important. It's interesting. I meet people who say they want to volunteer all the time, but they don't have the time. However, if you track the time they watch TV, you'll see that where the time is. It's all about priorities. When you give back, it takes the focus off of you and into something else, which brings you into a state of presence, especially if it's an opportunity that speaks to you. Let's say, for example, you're an animal lover and you volunteer at an animal shelter or animal hospital. Volunteering and giving back, even though it's an action performed for the other person, it boomerangs back into you. And that is another way to feel good about yourself, to develop self-esteem, to bring more joy and positivity in the world. I give back a lot of ways. I give back with an organization called Girls Trek, which is the largest health organization for Black women. I've given back to charities like Girls on the Run. I've been a coach.
If you also give back in your community, y'all let us know in the chat. Tell us what kind of things you do to have a positive impact in, in the areas around you. We want to know, so please let us know.
And just recently, I've been more environmentally conscious. So when I go into like Whole Foods, I don't even need a bag. I'll just throw it in my bag. So that's also my way of giving back to the environment. But yeah, that you can go visit a nursing home, volunteer at a food bank. There's so many things, so many ways. Pay for someone's food behind you when you're in the drive-through.
Ooh, that's one of my favorites.
Yes. I've seen recently people putting money in diaper cases, which I was like, oh my gosh, that's an excellent idea. I've come across people leaving notes, inspirational notes on the counter of fast food restaurants. That was amazing. So there's so many ways that you can bring a smile, bring a joy to someone. And believe me, you will feel the effects of that also.
Oh, 100%. Monica is in the chat saying that she volunteers, serves on the board of directors for 2 local nonprofits, just volunteered for a local Pride event, and also volunteers teaching time with another org. So
awesome.
Monica clearly putting the rest of us to shame with some areas in which you're volunteering. But
great job, Monica.
Truly, this can be something as simple like if I'm pulling my garbage cans back in the morning. I work from home, so I don't have much else going on during the day. And so if I see, a couple neighbors still have their trash cans out, I'll go put them back. Like, it's stupid, it's small, but like that kind of stuff makes me feel good. It makes me feel better about my day.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be, hugely impactful for a lot of people. It can just be for one person.
Yes. And even there are volunteer opportunities with, there's ways to give back on your job. A lot of jobs have where for Christmas, you can bring toys for a toy drive. I know some jobs participates in races. And some jobs will even donate to the organization that you volunteer for. So I would say check into that with your HR.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love this. I love that. That's very true. There's a lot of, especially a lot of companies that I've hosted events for lately that definitely do this, that, they encourage that community involvement. They want to know, where their employees are spending their time, where they can contribute to those things. That's wonderful.
Yes.
We only have about 6 minutes left. So this time always goes way too quickly. But one of the things I wanted to touch on, if you don't mind sharing with us, what do you think is the hardest part of that path to achieving fulfillment? Is there something that you feel like a lot of people struggle on, or something that you struggle with in your own practice?
It starts in childhood. That's the hard truth. When we get out of childhood, we have the responsibility of giving ourselves what we didn't get in our childhood, giving ourselves what we needed. And that in itself is another path to fulfillment.
That's a powerful sentence there. That's true. Like it's very difficult to realize that, a lot of the pathways that are formed, we don't have any choice over, because it happens when you're little. It happens when you are, very much a product of your upbringing. And I feel like it's very difficult for a lot of us to realize that, like, we might be fixing problems that we didn't cause. And that's, I don't know about you, it's something that is exhausting for me some days. But yeah, kind of getting out of our own way. That's huge for me. Did you experience this as well?
Ooh, yes. I was in a lot of trouble when I was a kid. And I've learned, what I can say is, I am the mother of a child with special needs. And so not only the mother, but I'm the sister of an individual with special needs. And so my life wasn't typical. And so there were times where I could not work in my field. There were times there were times where I took opportunities that didn't resonate with me. And so it was just a learning path of what resonates with me, what doesn't resonate with me. And I learned fulfillment through that path. Because when you're faced with something that cannot be changed, you are forced to change it. You are forced to learn other ways to be fulfilled.
It's like you have to get creative, right? You kind of got to think outside the box.
Yes, you are sparked into other ways to achieve fulfillment outside of a title.
Yeah.
And outside of what monetary success. So that I would say that is how my journey started. And I would say that path taught me so much that I didn't know I needed.
That's big. Thank you for sharing that with us. No, truly, because I mean, it's one of those things that, like, once you kind of grow up and you realize that you get to set your priorities. Just because the title was important or you needed to like impress people with your success, because that was something you grew up in, or that was an environment that you were in previously, does not mean you have to continue that way. You are an adult. You get to decide what does success mean to you? What does fulfillment look like to you? And that doesn't need to be, you don't need to justify that to anybody else. Hey, don't applaud me. My therapist is the one doing all the hard work, truly. But yeah, it really is. Okay, we only have a minute left, but I just want to say, Katrina, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. I've really, really enjoyed spending the last hour with you. And I can tell by the comments our audience did as well.
You're very welcome. And thank you.
Is there anything you want to leave us with?
Guys.
Anything that you want to leave us with before we close out for today?
Stay true to yourself. Stay true to yourself. Operate from your core values. And this is life. Have some fun and be fulfilled.
I like it. Very good. Katrina, thank you again so much. Huge thank you to all of our attendees as well. Y'all sent in some great questions. I was loving all of the volunteering and the interaction that we had in the chat. So thank you all for bringing that to today's event. I hope that if this was your first event with Powerfly, that we will see you on many more events with us. If you are a frequent flyer with us and we see you all the time, welcome back. We cannot wait to see how many more chats and connections y'all make with each other as well as with us. So I hope that y'all have a fabulous rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy a safe, happy, healthy day. And we'll be back tomorrow with more great programming. Katrina, thank you again. This was
You're very welcome.
Bye, everybody.